Raphinha making a difference since he came back. Barcelona staying top of the table with those 3 goals against Atleti, ahead of Real Madrid playing again tomorrow against Athletic Club. This is how the table is looking right now. Barcelona putting some distance between themselves and the chasing pack, not least the team that they played today, Atleti, who could have closed that gap on them today. We talked a lot about Barcelona in these big games. We've seen them against PSG, against Chelsea, against Real Madrid when it hadn't gone their way, but it did today against Atleti.
Yeah, and when you think of the performance today from Barcelona, much more so than the quality, or much more so than the execution, or much more so than scoring 3 goals, it wasn't about the quality. It was more about the will of Barcelona to win a game that matters and win a game that we consider to be, quote unquote, important against important teams. And this would be an important team in La Liga against Atletico Madrid. And Atletico Madrid coming in with all the momentum, and Barcelona willed themselves to a win. Even when at 2-1, when they're just kind of barely hanging on, you're seeing players that usually are not the sort of guys that we think of as defensive stalwarts, guys that really enjoy the defending part of the game. Barcelona was grinding. And Barcelona was grinding with a lot of players off the field that were struggling because of injury, because they're just coming back from injury. Dani Olmo had to come off, Pedri had to come off, Raphinha came off, Yamal was off. And so now you're out there with Gerard Martin and Dro Fernandez and Alejandro Valde, and you're like, oh boy, Pau Cubarsí leading the line defensively, barely hanging on. And yet you find a way not only to hang on, but score a 3rd goal, you win it 3-1. And what I would say, in general, as a whole, there was only one team on that field trying to win a game today, trying to win the game, trying to play to win the game. That was Barcelona. Now, again, not necessarily with a whole lot of quality over the 90 minutes, but willing themselves to a win. Whereas Atletico Madrid, I don't know about this group. You're coming in on a 6-game winning streak in La Liga with all the momentum. What else could you want? Going against a Barcelona team that has some injury issues, that has absences. The game is 1-1, and your attacking players are not even participating in the play. You asked me about Julian Alvarez in the pregame. Was he out there? Not really. It wasn't until very late in the match where they started swinging balls, hoping that Alexander Sørloth gets on the end or something. From Barcelona's perspective, big 3 points, you will yourself to a win. It is something that I think Hansi Flick can build upon, the desire, the energy with which this team played today. Whereas Atletico Madrid, just when you start believing that maybe there is something there, not quite.
Let's get the perspective from our boys in the booth today. We had the 2 Robbos. Let's go over to Rob Palmer and Stuart Robson right now with their take on what we saw today.
Thanks, Kay. Strong words there from Ali Moreno, Stuart. And you've been in the change room many, many times in your career. And the coaches will look into the eyes of the players there and say, did you leave anything out there? The Barcelona players, they ran a marathon. They ran themselves into the ground tonight. It's fair to say that Atletico Madrid left something out there, didn't they?
I'm sure they tried very hard. They worked very hard. But there wasn't that belief that they were going to go and score goals. There wasn't the belief that they were going to go and create things. And that was disappointing. You know, when they were playing with a back 5 at times, they were too deep and they didn't have enough players in the forward areas. We didn't see enough of Alvarez, as Ali's just said. Ali's summary of the game was absolutely superb because Barcelona didn't play fantastic football today. There was good movement from Raphinha. There was some good play from Pedri. Yamal had, 1 or 2 good moments. But it was their determination. Not always their organisation, because they still allowed people to run in behind them. But overall, that will to win, that determination, that grit, that determination, and a crowd that got right behind them that won them the game tonight.
When you normally say a team played like champions, you mean they've played flamboyant, scintillating football, wing to wing, tearing the opposition apart. But championships and titles are won when you know you're maybe not at your best and your squad is stretched and your team is stretched and you're having to change your tactics mid-game as well.
The corner came in, Rashford won the ball in the air, he then ran 30 yards and closed the ball down and stopped it being played into the box again. That's something you don't expect from Rashford, but he did it today and it was great from a Barcelona point of view.
And it was one of the nights, wasn't it, where it was the foot soldiers rather than the generals. It was those that were kind of in the back of the band rather than those front of the stage that won it for them tonight. The likes of Eric Garcia, the unsung heroes in there, Kabasi, who played way beyond his 18 years of age at centre-half.
Of course, but the player that really, really impressed me again was Raphinha. The movement, when you're at the stadium, you can see his movement. He was the player that just changes everything with his runs forward. And Ali said it, he got in behind the opposition.
Now, they'll be in there, they're battered and bruised. The people are going to be working the hardest now, actually, are going to be the medical department of Barcelona, because Olmo sprung his shoulder in his celebration.
Well, you think you don't know he sprung his shoulder. You think so?
Yeah. Well, what a big, big night. It's put the pressure now on Real Madrid tomorrow night. It's put a distance between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. My goodness, it's been a battle here tonight, Kate.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. Great call as always. And with regards to some of the players who came off, Raphinha has said afterwards that for him and Pedri, it is just tiredness. We obviously hope that is the case as well. We also have our team back pitch side. Our audio issues are done and dusted and behind us, I am told. So let's go out to Gemma and to Luis, because this was a big, big result for Barcelona when all is said and done, Gemma.
Yes, Kay, definitely. It's the first big win of the new Camp Nou, and it's the first time they managed to win a big team this season. And overall, Luis, I think it's the first dominant performance during the, okay, maybe not 90, but 80 minutes of this Hansi Flick Barca second era.
Yeah, exactly. And to win a game like this is you're not expected to dominate during 90 minutes. It's going to be very difficult because in front of you got a very talented team, very well organized, strong, energetic, and with a manager on the side that he was trying to find the way of beating that high line of Barcelona. And Simeone tried all over the play, changing players, changing positions, and they couldn't manage. And I think that's something very good to hear from Barcelona perspective. A dominant performance and also a solid performance. Even though the Atletico Madrid scored that first goal with Alvarez, they managed in the second half when they were controlling the game and scoring the second one. Atletico Madrid start trying to find that equalizer, and they hold at the back. They changed two of the most important players on the field today and overall the season with Pedri and Raphinha. And we thought, with those two players, the dominance is going to be get away because Pedri give you that confidence on the ball and Raphinha give you the leadership to press high on the field. Without them, Barcelona managed to control Atletico Madrid, to don't concede, and to score that third one.
And it's especially important because let's remember that Atletico was coming in a momentum, the best of the season, 6 wins in a row. They managed to score that early goal, and Barcelona, they were pushing as always. I would mention an omnipresent Pedri. Raphinha was giving so much depth. It was like a knife in that left side of the attack of Barcelona, and overall, dominant performance, but especially something to start building this team.
Yeah, exactly. Consistency is what is going to tell you this Barcelona is going to be able to challenge not only for La Liga, that I'm sure that they are going to be until the last games, but the Champions League, I think, is going to be that challenge when the big games arrive, when the toughest part of the season, that is in March, February, March, arrive, that you're going to be or going to have that consistency, that confidence on the team. The reaction of Barcelona was fantastic. Barcelona is always going to play with the same way, going forward, pressing high, with that high line, with that intensity, with that quickness of the ball. And after conceding that first goal, they never changed. They reacted well, and in the end, I think they worth today those 3 points.
We were looking at the starting 11 with Gerard Martin being center back against a big team for the first time. He got that yellow orange.
Yeah, but he did
card.
a fantastic job. There was a fantastic challenge to into the box with Solo, yellow card, and he managed to get the ball away. So today, I think that we can say that he did a fantastic job together with another very young talent that to me impressed me once again, Pau Cubarsí. Today, I think he got the gallon to say, listen, I'm young, might be this season not consistent enough, but today I'm going to be the main man at the back, and he did an outstanding job today.
And it's a lot of credit for Barcelona because let's remember that Atletico have only conceded 11 goals so far this season. Okay, everybody is happy. You've seen Kat she's happy as well. But now back to you.
Yeah, we did see Kat. Unfortunately, we couldn't speak to Kat right now because Sid Lowe is standing by with Jules Kounde. So let's see what he's had to say after the game.
Jules, does the celebration at the end of this game show us how big a victory this was for you?
Yeah, obviously it's a big victory against a tough opponent, also against a team which on also very high on the table. We know how difficult it is to play against Atletico Madrid, so it's good. It's good. We're also leader. We are 4 points ahead now, and we put pressure on the other team. So it was an important victory.
Atletico scored the first goal, but Barcelona's response today was really, really good and really quick. What was kind of going through your minds? What was the idea in terms of responding to the way that Atletico took the lead?
Keep doing what we were doing. I think that they have a good start, the first maybe 5-10 minutes, and then after I think we controlled the game. We had chances, and after the goal we just continue to do what we did well, and also playing with more intensity. And I think we had for the most part the control of the game, and it was very important, especially the battle in the middle. We know Pedri is unbelievable. We're able also to control the game way better when he's on the pitch, and also the intensity of our press. I think today we had a very good game.
Let me pick up on you talking about Pedri. Can you try and tell us, from the point of view of a teammate, of someone who plays alongside him, what it is that he's got, what it is that he does that other players can't do?
It's very difficult. I think he's just so complete. It's always about obviously what he does on the ball, his vision, obviously his technicality. I think he sees spaces way better than the average midfielder, I would say, and also he reads the game very well. And I think that's something which is very underrated, is his workload. He runs a lot. He runs a lot with the ball, without the ball. And just he's very calm in situation where in tight spaces, and sometimes we need that, and I think we missed it when he was out, even if we also had like other players who stepped up, but he's differential.
He also described him as very complete. And I said in the pregame, and again, I'll repeat that because I think it's worth saying it again. He is a blend of Xavi and Andres Iniesta, and that's high praise. But you look at what his game is all about, and he does have the awareness of space around him, just like Xavi used to do, and how he always found an open space where he could connect to the next pass. But he also has the dribbling ability of Andres Iniesta, that when he gets into tight areas, he can dribble out of those tight areas. He can dribble away from pressure and has enough quality in his attacking game to find a final pass or to provide a final touch. He is, again, a complete player that, in my estimation, and I've been saying this, I've been very consistent about it for years now, he is right now the best midfielder in the world. And some would argue Raphinha and this guy and that guy. I'll take Pedri. I'll take Pedri because he gives me so much as a team, defensively, as a team, offensively, and as an outside back, in this case, Jules Kounde, he gives me an outlet. Just give that guy the ball. He'll resolve the problem for me.
Yeah, I'm sure Hansi Flick is a lot happier after this game than he was after the weekend's game against Alvarez. Let's see if that's the case. Here he is speaking afterwards.
What's your assessment of the match? It's a great win, other comeback. What's your assessment?
It's perfect. So for us, I think also the performance today was on another level. We played against really fantastic team. So how I said also before the match, but we fight. We fight as a team together, and this is really what I see today or saw today. It was great, fantastic.
Other comeback, your team, when it's necessary, they now have to suffer at the end, and 3 goals, great match. How satisfied, how proud are you of your team?
Very. So it's like we said that we came back because now important players are arriving. Of course, they are. You can see it. They are not by 100% because we have to change them, but it's important to have them in the match because it's another dynamic with the ball. We control more, and we create more spaces, and this is really good to see.
Raphinha scored. He was the MVP. What do you think about his performance?
I said it often that Raphinha is one of our important players. So also to have him back, it's great for the team, for everyone, because you saw it today, but I could also saw it on the last match. So I'm happy with that, with the result, with the 3 points, and it's good.
We were worried about 2 players, Dani Olmo and Pedri. How did they feel?
Pedri is okay. He's a little bit tired, but Dani, he has problems with the shoulders. We have to see tomorrow.
Last question. Did your team need a win like this against a great opponent like Atletico Madrid for the confidence?
Of course, it's always good for the confidence to win against such a good team. So this was great. I'm really happy for the team.
Great match. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think this can be a turning point then, Gemma, given what we've seen from Barcelona, that today they dug deep, they got the result, and Real Madrid can't catch them tomorrow.
It could be, even though till now what really was the turning point, at least in La Liga, was that defeat at the Bernabeu. We will see, but I think that the best possible news as well is what just Hansi Flick said, that both Raphinha and Pedri were substituted just out of precaution.
Yeah, exactly, and how important they were for the team the first 60 minutes. And Mario Suarez was next to me talking. He was complaining, why are they changing right now Raphinha and Pedri? And I think the importance of Hansi Flick, he's got confidence enough. He knows that the league is going to be very long. It's still a lot of players to come, and you need to keep these players as much as possible rested, in well shape, because if you want to win a trophy, a big part of the success of this team, it comes from those 2 players.
Yeah, one of the successes of Hansi Flick staff is that they have this humongous Excel with all the minutes, all the effort, monitoring all the time. So they try to get as less injuries as they can, even though this season has been especially damaging for them. So turning point today for Barca?
I think is as we say here in Spain, a punch on the table. I think they make that statement. They are ready to fight. Of course, again, consistency is going to say if this Barcelona is going to become as favorite as we thought in the beginning of the season. But still, I think we'll still need to wait a little bit. Barcelona is growing. Barcelona is improving. But I'm sure that we're going to still find some games where the high line has got problems, with they commit mistakes, and hopefully we can see them, and not very often. But I think there was still time to and things to improve.
Last time they traveled to Sevilla, we have probably seen the worst Barcelona of the season. This weekend they go to the neighbors, to Betis, to La Cartuja. Do you expect a performance like tonight's?
I think that when you play like this against a strong team, it gives you that confidence back. And I'm expecting, we were expecting a good performance today, a good display. And I think that is going to ensure all the players, you can do it, you can control the games, you can manage to be solid at the back, you can manage to keep the team informed and creating chances. Now it's time to do it consistently.
Next time you will get the prediction right. This time
almost there, almost. I was angry with Ferran Torres. I said, no, it's good enough with 2-1, but...
Okay, back to you, okay.
Thank you, Gemma. He was trying to be too conservative. However, he is our intrepid explorer. Luis, before we let you go, you're headed off to Bilbao, right, for the game tomorrow?
Yes, Kate. We're going tomorrow early in the morning, so we'll be there in Bilbao.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing.
Is he going to give us a preview or not? That's it. The preview is that he's going to be
there.
You
wanted to ask me. I didn't know.
There's not going to be another draw, is it, for Real Madrid, Luis?
No, I expect not. I think that we're going to see goals, and I'm expecting Real Madrid to do well. I think Athletic Club is not in the best moment right now, and Real Madrid needs a good performance if they want to keep on going with the race, and much more. Xabi Alonso needs a good result to get back the confidence on the players.
You better get your prediction right tomorrow, Luis. Well done, Gemma, on getting yours right today. Well done, guys. I will be seeing more of Luis Garcia tomorrow. Athletic Club taking on Real Madrid. Real Madrid on the road once again, trying to avoid a 4th straight draw on the road in La Liga. You can catch all the coverage from 12:30 p.m. Eastern. That's the build-up. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. on Deportes, on Plus, and as always on the app. 9 goals in a Premier League game. There's some stats about that, but they annoyed Stevie, so we won't go into them, shall we? There you go. 5-4 finish for Manchester City. They hold on for the win. As it stands right now, they've played a game more, but they are 2 points behind Arsenal. They sit in second right now. Don Hutchison was watching for us as well. It's another game in which we've seen City give away goals freely after taking a lead. We saw it at the weekend against Leeds, Don, but they got away with it again today.
Yeah, let's not even go there with the XG. I mean, how can Fulham score 4 and only have 1 of an XG, and City score 5 and their XG was 2? It was supposed to be the night where I come on tonight and I go, Man City on fire. Erling Haaland gets to 100, the fast ever to achieve it. Phil Foden's banging form, 4 goals in 2 games. City on the march. They're 2 points now behind Arsenal. Everything was supposed to be pro-City and the role that they're on, and they're flying and scoring 5 goals. But when you lose 4 and 2 against Leeds and 2 against Newcastle, all of a sudden you're coming on tonight thinking, can they win the league? Because they can, the form they're in, but you can't be conceding 4 goals against Fulham and 2 against Leeds. So I think it leaves everyone a little bit scratching their heads, thinking where they at. They're in good form, they're winning games, they're scoring goals. Haaland's got to 100. Phil Foden, like we just said, is scoring goals and looking great, but that defence is all over the place.
How do you assess it, Stevie? Because it's these 2 back-to-back wins here for them. Yep. But it's some scary moments on the way to them.
Well, I think we saw, and we've seen over the last 4 games in particular, what City are all about. You know, the question before these games was, who's going to score if Haaland doesn't? Well, all of a sudden, Doku stepped up. We saw Foden, last 2 or 3 games, has stepped up. So they've answered that question. But then we spoke about the back line. Going into the Newcastle game, they had only lost 4 in 8 games. And so it was, well, they look kind of settled. They've lost 10 goals in 4 games since then. So it's pretty clear what City are. They're a team that going forward, if you don't ruffle them up, if you step off and let them play, then we've got weapons. That front 3, all scoring goals. So that's what you're going to get. Unfortunately, you kind of know what you're going to get defensively. They can't. They don't cover each other particularly well. That's the biggest problem. And you've got 2 fullbacks who are absolutely 100%. They're 2 guys that prefer to go forward and defend.
They're not fullbacks. That's
well, and okay. So then you're playing with 2 at the back. So don't be surprised if you lose 10 goals in 4 games when you're only playing with 2 defenders. And albeit a great goalie, but even a great goalie has lost 10 in the last 4. So it's pretty clear what City are. Really clear.
And beyond what we've come to expect of Manchester City, when it's 5-4, right? And you can sense that they're freaking out. But it's one thing that we can sense that they're freaking out. Completely different story when you actually see Manchester City, a team that thrives in possession of the ball and the quality of those players have in that possession of the ball, nervous with the ball at their feet, unable to complete passes and Fulham all over them, clearing the ball wherever it may go, running away from pressure, hoping that the time runs out. That is not the look of a potential champion. Now, in my estimation, Don feels otherwise, but in my estimation, they're not in that conversation just yet up until we see some sort of collapse from Arsenal that we haven't seen just yet. And so the way they closed out this match is far more important to me than the 3 points that they got out of this game. The way this game was 5-1 and it became 5-4, and they couldn't quite control the end of the game properly, the way that a champion team or championship level team should do, is the sort of stuff that hangs around and creates doubt. This team walks out of the stadium today not talking about the fact that they won away from home and that they won 2 in a row. They walk out of this stadium today thinking, oh, man, good Lord, man. Whoo! Ha! We got away with that one. In a game in which you score 5 goals away from home. And it creates doubt. And that's doubt that hangs around. And eventually it shows up again whenever it's the next time for you to hang on to a result.
One man who keeps showing up is Erling Haaland, though, Don, the fastest to 100 Premier League goals. Got that 100th tonight. And you'd expect a lot more are going to follow.
Yeah, I mean, when he analyses his performance tonight, he probably should have had a hat-trick, but I mean, the fastest to it by a margin, by the way. I mean, he's just come into the Premier League in this short space of time, completely ripped all the numbers up. You know, it used to be back in the day where, you know, a striker would hit 20 goals a season, you'd be happy. I think Messi, Ronaldo and Haaland are changing those numbers. the way he plays the game. Everyone's tried to micro-analyse where his weaknesses might be, but I think he proved tonight with the through ball that he is a good number 9 target man, can lay it off, but he's a predator, okay? He lives his life scoring goals. He'll never miss. Even when he misses one, he'll get back on the horse and he'll get another one, he'll get another chance. He never loses confidence. I think that's the main thing about him. We're all footballers and we've all got an ego and we can all be a little bit vulnerable at times, and when you're having a bad run, it can get to you. I just think the way Haaland plays the game and his attitude and his character, he could miss 10 chances in a game. He'll still get on the next one and he'll still score the game after. He's a freak of nature. He's amazing to watch.
That confidence, as you mentioned as well in the highlight, Alec, is unwavering.
Yeah, and that is actually the key to it all. That he's not thinking, man, I miss one, that becomes 2, that becomes 4, and now you go 3 games in which you haven't scored a goal because you're thinking about the bad miss that you just had. He has the opposite approach. He is thinking, I'm going to get another one, and I'm going to score that one. If I don't score that one, I'll score the next. Just give me the chances. I will take on the responsibility. And in order, not that I would know this, but in order for you to become a prolific goal scorer, you have to wholeheartedly believe that you're putting yourself in the best position, and if you get enough chances, you're going to score goals. Not that guy, not that guy, not that guy. You are going to score goals. That's your job, and that's what you live for, and that's the way he thrives. He thrives. That is his lifeline, scoring goals, and that's how he plays the game.
When you play with this City team that he's been playing with, it's not too long before he gets another chance, let's be honest. So he doesn't really have time to dwell on misses because he knows there's another one coming along very shortly.
That seemed like a backhanded
I know, I can't quite tell myself.
I looked at that list and I'm thinking, all of those players. Shearer's a great example.
Can we not do Haaland lists again, Stevie?
No, please don't.
Well, you look at Shearer. If Shearer had been playing today, he would have those numbers that Haaland's got as well. I mean, Haaland, that's how good he is.
Can we just appreciate Haaland and instead of
I'm just
placing
saying,
him in some sort of historical
I'm just pointing out
conversation?
that it's a lot easier not to dwell on misses when you've got another one coming in
Well,
about 65
Stevie,
seconds.
You could have put Haaland back in Shearer's era and in previous eras of the Premier League, and he'd still be delivering goals like this, right?
Yes, he'd still be scoring goals. Not at the rate he is right now, but absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
Don, can you weigh in on what Stevie's saying here? The first points he's making, that if you're in the City team, you're going to get goals anyway.
No. Yeah, well, 100%, but you've still got to have the confidence and you've still got to have the ability to take them. I mean, just because you play for Man City, it's not like you can get a guy from the pub team and put him up top of Man City and go, right, score 20 goals a season. You've got to have the ability. We saw that at Dortmund. You see that at international level. He's got it. He's just got that. He's got that aura, he's got that presence, even when he's not scoring, he's having an impact on the game. He's impacting centre-back. So where sometimes you might feel he's a little bit quiet because we associate him with being a number 9 and a prolific goal scorer, he's still got a different role in the team when he's not scoring goals. But like I said before, he lives for the goals. And like Ali said there, it's like he misses one, so what? He's got that ability and that character and that confidence to shake it off. And then on to Stevie's point, you've got to make sure you're good enough and you're ready enough. And technically you're good enough for when that chance comes, not to dwell on the one that you've missed, but to get your head down and finish it. Like I said, I guarantee you, because I know what pros are like, he'll put his head on the pillar tonight and he'll be so chuffed with being the fastest. But I guarantee you, if you ask him, he'll say, should have scored 3. That's how he works.
Would he have scored as many back in the day by your assessment, Don?
Yeah.
Yes, he would.
Yeah, no, of course he would. I think to Stevie's point, when you bring Alan Shearer into the equation, I mean, Shearer played in a tough era and he'd done his ACL, so he was missing for quite a while. So the guys on that list are on there for a reason. He'd have banged in goals for fun, Haaland. He'd still be top of those charts, I'd imagine.
Well, can we just do then an apples to apples conversation then, in comparison, which is Sergio Aguero, who played for Manchester City. Very good Manchester City teams. Great Manchester City teams. Even Sergio Aguero, who is on that list, took 147 matches to score 100 goals.
Yes, David.
Whereas Erling Haaland took
You're starting that argument
111.
again. I think you're starting that argument.
You started it by not just giving him his flowers.
I just
look
need
at that
apples to
list,
apples.
and you can talk about Aguero if you want as well. But the game is so wide open. That's why he's. I'm not talking about his ability. I'm just saying that the game is so wide open That's why he's got so many goals so quickly. That's the difference between him, in my opinion, and the majority of the rest. It's so open. That's why it's 100 and 111 games. I mean, that's mental.
Again, that sounded like a backhanded compliment.
Well, it's got nothing to do with his ability. I'm just saying.
He's like, congratulations, not bad.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, who do you think you are, anyway?
Yeah.
Hey?
Don, you know we need a percentage chance question. It's not about Erling Haaland. It's about City and Arsenal right now and winning the Premier League title.
Yeah. Well, the same as Saturday night, 60-30-10, and Chelsea's the 10. I would not write Man City off. I wouldn't write them off at all because they can go on a run. I think their next game's Sunderland. So, you know, before you know it, there could be 3 or 4 wins on the spin, and they sit here tonight only 2 points behind. How do you write a Man City team off that's done this twice against Arsenal? How do you write them off completely when they're only 2 points behind? You can't.
All right, let's move on to talk more Premier League because it's St James's Park.
For the record, when they were up 4 points on Manchester City, Arsenal were 4 points, he had it at 50-50.
Yes.
Now they're only 2 points ahead. Now he's got 60-30.
It's a long season ahead.
You know, that's the old Don logic again.
2-2, it would finish. The 95th minute there. Christian Romero, the hero on the day. Let's take a look at the standings. Both teams finding themselves down in the bottom half of the table. Spurs in 11th right now, Newcastle in 13th. Lots to talk about from this game. Don's still with us. Let's get to that penalty decision first, Stevie. Let's just reiterate your feeling on it.
Well, I don't think there's no question Betancourt is the initial aggressor. He puts his hand on his waist, but we see that every single corner in every single game. But then Dan Burn starts forcing Betancourt backwards. Betancourt's starting to lose his balance. Dan Burn's got his arm locked in, and Dan Burn's twice the size of Betancourt, and he's forcing him down, and he ends up on top of Betancourt. Now, I don't see as a referee you can turn around and say that's definitely a penalty kick. I just don't see it.
How did you see it, Don?
Exactly the same as Stevie. It's never a penalty. It's never, ever, ever a penalty. That's 2 players more or less wrestling for the same bit of territory. Who was at fault? I don't think you can split them. I think it's a 50-50 who's trying to sort of wrestle away a yard. I just think it's one of those where whoever hits the floor, the referee then thinks, oh, that must be a foul to the player that's hit the floor. I think that was a poor decision from the referee. He didn't actually have a good game, the referee, all evening. He's a young referee, so it was a tough game for him to try and ref in, so I'll give him that. But I think the VAR decision for the pen was extremely harsh.
What's your overall take on today's result between these two sides and how it all ended, though, Don?
Well, Spurs come out with a bit of credit, Kay, because they got battered for 45 minutes, and that's, I think, where Eddie Howe will be upset. That Newcastle didn't go at least 1 or 2-0 up at half-time. Hand on heart, I think Eddie got his team wrong. I think he should have started with Anthony Gordon and Anthony Elanga. He went with Murphy and Barnes, who, to be fair, are in good form. I just think the way Spurs line up with Udogie and Porra at right back, you can get at them with raw pace, and that's exactly what happened when Anthony Gordon and Elanga came on. So I think Eddie Howe will be a little bit sort of self-reflecting when he thinks, could have done a little bit more? I think he could have. Romero, he'll never score a couple of worldy goals like that, even though, as Ali said, it was an absolute shin to win the last one, but a diving header and an overhead kick to get a point. So credit Spurs for not caving in, but Newcastle will be a little bit devastated they didn't put them away in the first half.
And not all heroes wear capes, Ali.
Well, no, and Christian Romero does not have a cape. I honestly, because we're watching a lot of games at the same time, and every time that I pan to the Newcastle Spurs game, especially in the first half, I'm thinking, good Lord, these are 2 bad teams. Bad teams. And Newcastle, slightly better than Spurs, and yes, should have been up at halftime, but just on the whole, what I'm most surprised about is that actually there were 4 goals produced in this game. Where did the 4 goals come from? Because on the basis of the performance, you look at both of them, and they belong exactly where they are on the table. This is not a coincidence. And that's the overall feeling that I got in watching the game, is that, yeah, they are what they are for a reason. Spurs struggles to create anything of any sort of significance in the attack, so much so that you have to lean on Christian Romero to be the one that scores 2 goals for you somehow. As for Newcastle, you get the feeling that they should be better, that they could be better, but for whatever reason, they just can't quite string it together game after game after game. In fact, half to half. Their drop-off in performance within games is significant, so much so that you allow a very average team like Spurs, to get back into this match. Newcastle should have won this game. They would be disappointed, but just on the whole, both of these teams, they got a whole lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do, Stevie.
Yeah, I think, Newcastle definitely let themselves down in the final third with the amount of ball they had. Ali's talking about looking at the game. Every time you watch this, the yellow jerseys were defending. But you've got to give them credit for that. Particularly, Frank's under pressure. And of course, whenever a manager's under pressure, the old classic comes out. Oh, the players playing for the manager, they're putting it in. Well, in terms of performance today, were they at the silky best? 100% not. But I'll tell you what, they didn't have to put the effort in. Yes, they had to defend for their lives, but they did it. And you don't do that if you want rid of the manager. And the fact that when they went 1-0 down, we all thought, game's done here. Because this team couldn't even get out the park, never mind score a goal. But they came back, they didn't let their heads go down. They came back into the game. And Newcastle took a step back, naturally. But they got back in it. And then again, they get punched in the jaw again. 2-1 down, game's done. No, it's not. So I think we've got to give Spurs some credit. They didn't deserve to get in from the game, but they kept at it. And if anybody had any doubts that this team wants Frank as their manager, this effort showed that they still believe in him.
Okay, it wasn't Leverkusen did have another goal ruled out for offside through Terrier. It would finish 1-0 and they march on to the quarter-finals. Archie in touch. And Didi Hamann were at the game. Here they are speaking after it.
On Saturday, Dortmund won away at Leverkusen, but tonight in the DFB Cup, Leverkusen have won away at Dortmund, Didi. And just about, given the way that they took their chance, deserved?
Yeah, there wasn't much in the game on Saturday, there wasn't much in the game tonight, but I think they were just the more clinical. Scored a wonderful goal in the first half through Mazza. Dortmund probably had the best 2 chances towards the end of the half, where Adeyemi has 2 shots on target on goal from about 10-12 yards out. He's got to do better. But Leverkusen defended well. They played the better football. They looked the more mature team, and I think in the end they deserved it.
Which of these teams looks better set, would you say, for the rest of the season? Of course, Leverkusen being through to the next round gives them a real fillip. But for Dortmund, it feels like Niko Kovac is having to fight against outside forces, even if he's probably overperforming.
Yeah, that's right. So if you ask me which team I'd like to manage tomorrow, it will be a pretty easy decision, because I think
That'll
Leverkusen
be a headline in itself.
I think they've got so many wonderful players going forward with pace, with guile. They're just wonderful to watch. And the way they pass the ball in Grimaldo and Garcia and Hoffmann, they've got 3 players who bring everybody into play. Everything is gelling together in a pretty short space of time, because new manager, a lot of new players. And on the other hand, you look at Dortmund, and it's always workmanlike. Sometimes it's a hard watch, because they find it so hard to create chances from open play. And I think there's a lot more potential in Leverkusen's team than in Dortmund.
Both of these teams back in Bundesliga action at the weekend. Leverkusen go to Augsburg, whilst Dortmund host Hoffenheim here, looking to bounce back from their cup defeat to Leverkusen.
Thank you, guys. You'll be able to see all the German football on ESPN+. Here's the rest of the round of 16 results. St. Pauli with a win over Gladbach. Kaiserslautern got slaughtered by Hertha. 6-1 that game finished.
Good try.
And Leipzig. Baumgartner with 2 goals in the 3-1 win over Magdeburg. Here's Wednesday's schedule coming up. Lots more games, including Union Berlin taking on Bayern Munich. Last 16, everybody fighting for a spot in the quarterfinals. You can catch these games on ESPN+. Have you seen this from Youngwei Koo?
The question is, did he mean to do that? What's that about?
How do you do that?
Why?
How do you do that?
I thought it was a trick play.
Well, it was a trick, all right.
Yeah.
Did you hear a whistle? Or?
No.
Yeah, I guess
He just went to hit the ball and hit the ground instead.
You got one job, right?
One job. Yeah.
Just kick it.
Hit the ball. Hit the ball.
Kick it.
Hit this ball.
Thank you so much for being with us on
Swing
ESPN
through,
FC. Stick
Swing
around.
through.
Extra time is on the way next. Don Hutchison is joining us to answer your questions. These two will stick around.
Man.
See you there. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We've got Stevie and Ali in the studio. Don Hutchison's with us as well. Oh my goodness. The first question will have to be for Stevie, of course. Is Erling Haaland the greatest Premier League striker of all time?
Yeah. I'm with Frank on this one.
Don't start blaming someone else. I want your opinion, just outright.
No, how can he be? How long has he been in the league? 4 years? How can he be? You can't judge until he's either finished or right at the end of his career. And as I said on the show, in terms of goals, it's easier, A, when you play in a side like City, and B, the game is so open. That's why he has so many goals in such a short space of time.
I guess he'd have had
But
one back in the day
again,
then.
let me repeat. That's got nothing to do with how brilliant he is.
Okay.
I'm just saying the game is so open that a guy with his quality is going to score more goals.
So could he have scored 100 and 124 like Alan Shearer did back then?
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. Would you bet against him becoming the greatest striker of all time in the Premier League?
If he stays fit, I'd have a tough time arguing against you.
Well, you'll find a way.
If he keeps doing what he's doing, then absolutely.
He'll give it a go.
If he scores another 111 in the next 100 games, I won't be able to argue with you.
All right. All right.
I think that's pretty clear, isn't it?
Okay, we all right with that, guys? Yeah, done.
I mean, wasn't it Craig on here about a month ago saying he wasn't in the top 20 and then had to
it was
backtrack
Frank.
double quick?
Frank, yeah, but Craig was involved
Was it
in that
Frank? Sorry,
conversation,
Craig.
but then quickly backpedaled
Yeah, he
as well,
did.
to be
Craig-
fair.
Yeah, but Craig mentioned a couple of old Chelsea boys, didn't he? And it was like, whoa, you can't be bringing boys in from the 70s into Erling Haaland's conversation unless they're racking up serious numbers. It was funny.
Okay, I'm sure this topic will come back up again.
Oh,
and
no
again
doubt.
and
I
again.
can't wait.
No
It's going
doubt.
to be amazing.
Okay. Ale, who's your pick to win MLS Cup this Saturday? And is this one of the most even matchups we've seen in the final in recent memory?
Oh, you mean there's another team playing other than Inter Miami?
Oh,
You mean they're playing somebody
Yeah, it's
in
Messi
MLS
against
Cup?
Muller.
It's not just Messi and Inter Miami
No.
celebrating and
Maybe
winning.
Vancouver can do it.
Well,
The game's in Miami, right?
yes. But you wouldn't know that they're playing against another team. Look, the Vancouver Whitecaps are an uncomfortable matchup for Inter Miami, and I think they can expose some of the frailties that Inter Miami and vulnerability that Inter Miami have defensively. Having said all that, this is Inter Miami and Lionel Messi. More importantly, Lionel Messi, if he plays at the level that he's been playing in the playoff, and why wouldn't he? Because he's Lionel Messi. They become so difficult to stop. Him playing at a high level, Tadeo Allende playing at a high level, Silvetti playing at a high level, Jordi Alba as well. They seem to have too many tools available for Lionel Messi, and this team offensively has been dominant. They're explosive. If Vancouver is unable to address that, I don't think they have an opportunity to win this game. But that's what everybody's been saying, and so maybe Vancouver can use that to their advantage. Nobody's talking about Vancouver whatsoever, and this is a good team that can be a problem for Inter Miami. I'm still going to pick Miami.
I'm being told that after today's Barcelona game against Atleti, Diego Simeone said he couldn't believe that Raphinha didn't win the Ballon d'Or.
Okay.
So he's adding some fuel to that one. And we're talking about that game right now because there's a question here saying, is Yamal really Barcelona's best player ahead of Raphinha? The team is on a whole other level with Raphinha on the pitch, and he does have more important goals since the beginning of last season. I'll put that to you, Ale.
We can turn this conversation around and say if you go back a year ago, exactly a year ago, right around this time, where Lamine Yamal was struggling with an injury and was not available for Hansi Flick. And at that point, Barcelona were leading the league, and they went on a free fall, and Raphinha was on the field at the time. So we seem to be prisoners of the moment and seem to react on what we see on the last couple of performances from Raphinha, how much of an impact he has on this team, which he does. But so does Lamine Yamal, and if he's not available, then Raphinha's job becomes a whole lot more difficult, and it's more difficult for him to be effective because he needs the presence of Lamine Yamal. So how about you have them both on the field? And right now, Hansi Flick can do that. He can have both of them on the field. I still think that if you're giving me the choice of picking a player, one over the other, I'm taking Lamine Yamal, because I think what you're seeing from him is only the beginning of what he's going to become as a player.
Okay, when you have a big lead, Don, like Man City did today, and the opponent starts a comeback like Fulham did, how difficult is it to stop the momentum and regain control of the match?
It is horrible. It is horrible. Once you lose momentum and you see it coming, sometimes there's nothing you can do. You can change fullbacks, you can change midfield players, managers can change whatever you like on the pitch tactically. When it's all going against you and you're losing goals for fun. I mean, I've had a couple of sevens in my career. I had a 7 at Blackburn and a 7 at Man United, and there's nothing you can do. You're just standing there thinking like, right, I need to do something. Let's close people down and let's. But sometimes, like, everything's the opposite. When you want to close people down because you're taught to close people down, sometimes the best thing to do is stand in your position and be compact. If you be compact and teams start, it's a nightmare. And sometimes there's nothing you can do apart from just grind on and hope you come out on the right end of the result. And that's what happened to City today, because Fulham had one cleared off the line with about sort of 10 seconds to go. But it's a horrible feeling.
Hodge, were you with us yet when we beat Leeds 5-4 at Elland Road? Did you come the following year?
No, but we lost Leeds in the Charity Shield 5-4 or 4-3.
Yeah. We were playing Leeds United away, and we were 4-0 up at half-time. I mean, absolutely annihilated them. And for, I think, first 10, 15 minutes, nothing happened. It was perfect. And we just kind of thought it was done. And they got a goal, it was 4-1. And then 5 minutes later, they got another one. And then they got another one. And it's just like the snowball's coming at you. And you can't do anything to stop it. And we actually got another one. We went 5-3 up. Rushy scored and we thought, that's us. 10 minutes to go. They scored again with 5 minutes to go, 5-4. I mean, we held on big time. A bit like City today. Game was done. We fell asleep, stopped playing. When that snowball gets going, as Don said, you can't stop it.
I was kind of annoyed that you were annoyed about the stats as to there being 9 goals in a Premier League game and how often that had happened. You know why I was kind of annoyed?
Why are you going to get him started?
No, I have to get him started because for once it involves Middlesbrough.
Oh, is that why?
We were in a game where there were 9 goals scored. And we scored 8 of them against Man City in 2008.
All right. It was a kind of, like...
It is a high scoreline for a Premier League game, Stevie, isn't it?
Commentators come out. I mean, I get that some people like stats, but, you know, give us a solid, a really good start. You know, John gave us this is the 6th highest, what was it, 6th highest?
It 4th? Was it 6?
No, it was definitely 6.
Was it 6?
Like, what would 6? If it was second or first, but John's telling me it's 6. I'm like, who cares if it's 6th? When's anybody ever cared about anything being 6th?
6-7, 6-7.
Oh my goodness, we've had too many 6-7s on this show.
Hey.
If we get a 6-7 in the Premier League, then we'll talk, all right? Should Liverpool sell Salah in January and use the money to buy his replacement, Stevie?
Yes. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Who's going to buy him?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. There's only one place he's going to. There's only one place he's going to go because nobody else is going to pay him what he's getting. So, yeah, why wouldn't you? You got to move on eventually. Right now.
But bad form doesn't last forever, does it?
It can. It can.
You think it will with him?
I think there's a possibility. Now, I'm going to guess that nothing will happen in January. But if somebody comes in and offers you 50 mil, because he might still be worth 50 or 60 mil to the Saudis. So why wouldn't you take it? You get 50 mil, you get that wage off the bill, and then you can go again and retool. Get Semedo. If you can work that out, get Semedo. But I don't think that will happen. I think Liverpool will wait. If anything's going to happen with Salah, it'll be next summer. I don't think anything will happen in the January window.
What do you think, John? Cash in while you can or keep hold of him?
It's a good question that from Steve Daly. I like it, but what I need, Kay, I need names. You know, it's all right saying cash in, but who are you going to buy? Are you going to go elite? You're going to buy like Michael Olise? Because then it's a no-brainer. And Semenyo is a brilliant, brilliant player, but there's a big step up from Bournemouth to Liverpool.
You got to think, Don. Don, you got to think. You got to think that the hierarchy have been looking at players to replace Salah or Gakpo or anybody else. They have to be. That's their job. And and at the end of the day, you have to make a decision. You know, nobody knew what was going to happen with Sane, for example, from Southampton. But you have to take a step forward. There's always a little. Sorry, Manny. I meant Manny, not Sane. But there's always.
That's all right. You meant Semenyo, not Semedo, as well.
I know.
And then. So there's always a little gamble on anybody, as we're seeing right now with Wirtz and Isak struggling. So. No, absolutely.
I'd wait.
They're bound to have...
I'd wait till the summer.
Yeah, I think that's what will happen. But if they get offered 50, 60 million, you've got to take it.
Fair enough from you, Stuart. There's some news on Dani Olmo's current injury, that he's dislocated his shoulder and it will be 3 weeks on the sidelines right now. The next question is about Barcelona.
3 weeks? For a dislocated shoulder?
That's what we're
I don't
hearing
think
right
so.
now. What's more likely
More than
on a
that.
dislocated shoulder?
If he's dislocated his shoulder, he's out for 3 months. Never mind 3 weeks.
All right,
No chance.
All right. Nickel MD.
I'm just saying, I've done my shoulder twice.
All right.
I've done it.
Aye.
I've done it, yeah.
Oh, we got experience everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
3 months.
No,
Maybe
we're talking
it's a
about here,
Semedo
by the way.
Semenyo situation and a Mane Sane situation. Maybe Dani Olmo's just tougher than Don and Stevie.
Oh, he's not. That's off. He's done his shoulder.
Ale, does Rashford deserve more game time at Barca?
Marcus Rashford has been better than I think Barcelona had expected coming into the season, and they have to use him because of the injuries to the players that were always going to start ahead of Marcus Rashford. And so those players are now back from their injuries. We just had a question about, is Raphinha the most important player in Barcelona and not Lamine Yamal? And I was saying that I would take Lamine Yamal over Raphinha. I tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not taking Marcus Rashford over Raphinha or Lamine Yamal. So those two guys are going to play, and then the question becomes who plays through the middle, and that will be either Robert Lewandowski or Ferran Torres. It won't be Marcus Rashford. So it's not a matter of whether you deserve more playing time or not. These guys, right now, at this point in their career, they're better than you are at what they do, and more important to this team than you are. You will still be a useful player for Hansi Flick, and you will come off the bench and play an important role and get important minutes, defining minutes. He came on the field today, made a difference, both defensively and offensively. That's the expectation for Marcus Rashford going forward. As it pertains to what his playing time will be, that depends on whether Raphinha and Lamine Yamal are healthy and are fit. And if they are, those guys are going to play.
All right, that will do it for today's questions. Thank you so much to the panel for answering them. Thanks to Don for being with us, and for Stevie.
And Dr. Nickel.
Dr. Nick.
Dr. Nickel.
Love Dr. Nick.
MD.
See you tomorrow.
Don't forget the MD.
Sorry, my apologies. I do beg your pardon.